Blessings and peace, beloved. Thank you for joining us for our Great Controversy Devotional series. And remember, we are taking a look at the book Christ Triumphant. And the reading for today, January the 10th, is entitled, Setting Aside Divine Authority. And the scripture text, Ezekiel 28 verse 18, says, Thou hast defiled thy sanctuaries by the multitude of thine iniquities. The high honors conferred upon Lucifer were not appreciated as the gift of God and called forth no gratitude to the Creator. If we are ungrateful people, we will make the same mistakes as Lucifer made. In order to not make the same mistakes that Lucifer made and continue in his path, we have to be grateful individuals. Gratitude keeps us connected to the heart of God. Gratitude helps us to be full of humility and awe and wonderment of God. We must be grateful. Gratitude connects us to the blessings of God and ensures, with obedience, the continual hand of God upon the affairs of our existence. Lucifer was ungrateful, and this ungratefulness caused him to be self-indulgent, looking at his own self and what he possessed, and this is what took his eyes off of God. Ingratitude, murmuring and complaining takes our eyes off of the promises of God, the goodness of God, the miracles and the blessings of God in our experience. And when our eyes are taken off of God's goodness, blessings, mercy, and grace, our feet go on a different path. And we lose out, beloved. This is how we lose our way. This is how Satan adjusts our walk, by murmuring and complaining and not being grateful for everything that God does for us. He gloried in his brightness and exaltation and aspired to be equal with God. He was beloved and reverenced by the heavenly host. Angels delighted to execute his commands, and he was clothed with wisdom and glory above them all. Yet, the Son of God was the acknowledged sovereign of heaven, one in power and authority with the Father. In all the counsels of God, Christ was a participant, while Lucifer was not permitted thus to enter into the divine purposes. Why? Questioned this mighty angel. Why should Christ have the supremacy? Why is he thus honored above Lucifer? To the very close of the controversy in heaven, the great usurper continued to justify himself. When it was announced that with all his sympathizers he must be expelled from the abode of bliss, then the rebel leader boldly avowed his contempt for the Creator's law. He hated God and he hated his law because he was ungrateful for what God did for him. So you would see many people whom God has truly blessed. They avowed great contempt for God and his law because they indulged the spirit of ungratefulness. He denounced the divine statutes as a restriction of their liberty and declared that it was his purpose to secure the abolition of law. With one accord, Satan and his host threw the blame of their rebellion wholly upon Christ, declaring that if they had not been reproved, they would never have rebelled. But where did the rebellion come from? Ungratefulness, unthankfulness, murmuring, and complaining. Satan's rebellion was to be a lesson to the universe through all coming ages, a perpetual testimony to the nature and terrible results of sin. The working out of Satan's rule, its effects upon both humans and angels, would show what must be the fruit of setting aside the divine authority. We are not safe for a day, for a moment, without prayer, without obedience to God. God has laid a straight and narrow path over the lava of this life that protects us from falling into a pit of fire and being consumed and destroyed by sin. We are not safe for a moment without it, beloved. Stay your course on the straight and narrow path. The working out of Satan's rule, its effect upon both humans and angels, would show what must be the fruit of setting aside the divine authority. It would testify that the existence of God's government and his law is bound up the well-being of all the creatures he has made. Thus, the history of this terrible experiment of rebellion was to be a perpetual safeguard to all holy intelligences, to prevent them from being deceived as to the nature of transgression, to save them from committing sin and suffering its punishment. So the record has been allowed. Beloved, we serve a good God who have allowed the record to remain that we would not make the same mistakes. And it began with ingratitude. Cultivate the spirit of gratefulness. We always have something that we can be grateful for. The devil pulls us down into a pit through ungratefulness. At any moment, God can withdraw from the impenitent the tokens of his wonderful mercy and love. Oh, that human agencies might consider what will be the sure result of their ingratitude to him and of their disregard of the infinite gift of Christ to our world. If they continue to love transgression more than obedience, the present blessings and the great mercies of God that they now enjoy but do not appreciate will finally become the occasion of their eternal ruin. Ungratefulness leads to eternal ruin. Appreciate the blessings of God in your life today, beloved, because this gratitude will keep your heart warm and tender to your Creator. Blessings and peace, and have an overcomer's day today. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. We definitely appreciate your interest in our ministry. We trust that what has been produced has been a blessing to you. Remember to like, to share the video, and also to subscribe to us right here on our YouTube channel, Messengers of the Covenant. Also, consider partnering with us financially and supporting the ministry by going to our parent ministry page, wordoflife.network/donate, and you can make a donation there, or you can email us at messengersofthecovenant@gmail.com for further details on how to support our ministry. Also remember to keep us in prayers. God's blessing to you. Blessings and peace.